Good Monday morning. Liz Bolden here, just hopping on to give a recap of last week and sort of setting the stage for this week. And so we had a busy week last week. We are in the sort of stage of session where we are passing what we call omnibus bills. And I've mentioned this before, this is just package bills. So as the committees are wrapping up their work, they put together a package of bills. And so those are the big bills budget bills that we are passing right now in session. And so I want to be sure that I'm sharing information about what is included in those bills, because there's a lot of things. It's a package, there's a lot of things included. So I'm going to talk about the bills that we passed last week and some of the key pieces, things that I'm most excited about that are included in those. And then you'll hear more about things that we are passing this week as well. So last week, one of the big package bills we passed was the agriculture bill. And so that included things like $100 million of funding for broadband across the state. Really, really important. We know it is critically important for people to be able to be connected. Investing in agriculture research, $2.19 million to support the Forever Green cover crops and continuous living color projects. Meat processing is included, almost $800,000 for workforce growth, and removes the bottleneck to become a meat processor. Supporting dairy farmers, $5.5 million was included to incentivize small and mid-sized dairy operations across the state. Many of those have been hit really hard by inflation. And then $14 million to protect producers in the form of a grain indemnity fund. And so a number of ways that we are really partnering with farmers, and I'm really excited about that. Agriculture bill was happy to vote yes for that. And then Friday, we passed 3 omnibus bills, so I'm going to walk through those and just share some pieces of those as well. One of those was Jobs and Economic Development, which is partnered with the Labor Committee as well. So things that are included in that Jobs and Labor bill include CHIPS funding, so $250 million, which is a federal match that helps to grow Minnesota's semiconductor industry and creates good paying jobs. The Promise Act is $60 million in grants and $40 million in low interest loans for small businesses. Explore Minnesota funding is $16 million, which invests in tourism in Minnesota and across the state. Childcare access, there's $15 million in this bill related to childcare, just making investments in the childcare workforce, which we know is critically important. And one thing I'll highlight in this bill is Bridges to Healthcare, a program. I have carried this bill for a number of years. It is near and dear to my heart. It's a really good public-private partnership that provides wraparound services to people coming into healthcare professions. We know that there are huge needs in that space, and this is a really great proven way to make investments to support people to bring them into those professions. So partnered with that was the labor bill. Things included in that are banning non-compete agreements. This is really important, and we are one of the leaders across the country in this, non-compete clauses in employee contracts prevent workers from pursuing new employment opportunities, and they suppress wages. So this is a really good provision. There's measures for workforce development, protections for meat and poultry workers, and nursing home workforce standards as well, all really important things. The other thing I would highlight in this bill is one of my bills, which is for adult changing facilities in newly built public bathrooms, something we heard really powerful testimony about. It's a dignity issue, it's a fairness issue, making sure that people have clean and safe facilities to be able to, be changed when they are out in the public. So really happy to vote yes on that bill. The next one I'll talk about is commerce and consumer protection. Things included in that bill are protections for fraud against seniors, a study to take a look at offering free primary care. We know that when folks have access to health care, it's not only the right thing to do, but it also makes financial sense. And so looking at that, if we were to offer free primary care, what would that look like? There are resources for student loan advocacy. I myself have student loans. I know many of you do. So having an advocacy at the state level to help navigate those situations. Another one of my most favorite pieces of this bill is the Prescription Drug Affordability Board. So we know that the cost of prescriptions are really, really high. Sometimes, you know, it is a barrier for people to be taking their medications at all, or folks who are rationing them. I know I spoke on the floor. I see this in my practice as a nurse nearly, you know, in every shift. It really is difficult for many people to afford their medications. And so this affordability board would be looking at that and keeping those costs low for Minnesotans. And then the last bill I'll talk about is the Judiciary and Public Safety Package Omnibus Bill. And so this is a balanced bill that has investments and provisions for both preventing crime, partners in public safety. It has things like full funding for the Department of Human Rights, funding for first responders and mental health. It has funding for violent crime investigation teams, crisis response and criminal investigation grants, and then also supporting victims of crime. It has provisions to create a missing and murdered Black women and girls office. It supports the missing and murdered Indigenous relatives office. There's funding for sexual assault exams and victim of violent crime. Those sexual assault exams will now be funded at the state level, won't rely on local dollars for that. And then responding to increases in crimes of bias. So a number of ways that we are really investing to keep people safe and to support those measures. So that's a really sort of a quick and brief look at the bills that we passed last week. If you have questions about things that are in or not in those bills, please reach out. I'm happy to chat about that, and I will share more about the things that we passed this week as that happens. So thank you so much. Have a great day.